Right now at noon, advocates on both sides of the abortion debate are set to spar in front of an assembly panel considering a package of Republican-authored anti-abortion bills. And congressional Republicans and Democrats are digging in over the Mueller report.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now on this Tuesday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in a bit, but first, let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast. A little chilly start to the day.
That's right. Temperatures did start out in the 40s this morning, but if you think today is chilly, tomorrow is going to be even chillier for you. We're watching the cloud cover start to increase. We're going to see more increasing cloud cover as we move into the afternoon. Temperature-wise, we are at 52 right now. Winds coming out of the east at 8 miles per hour. But I do want to show you just where this cloud cover is. In fact, as you work your way towards central Wisconsin, you actually get in on more sunshine as there's a region of high pressure, right about in here, and that's keeping a lot of that cloud cover further towards the south. But more cloud cover is going to be streaming in because we're watching another system that is getting ready to come our way from the south and west. That same system is bringing some severe weather to our friends towards the south, and then this is into tomorrow where that severe weather threat does get as close as Chicago. However, we are not expecting severe weather here, but we do have an alert day in the forecast just because of the amount of rain that could be on the way for us. Wednesday, Mark, is looking very soggy. I'm going to be timing down how things will play out for most of us as we come into Maine weather in the next couple of minutes.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
This just in from the Channel 3000 Alert Center. Crews are responding to a report of a crash in Verona with a person pinned between a pickup truck and a semi-trailer. The Dane County Communications dispatcher says first responders were sent to the on-ramp to County Road PB at Highway 151 around 11:10 this morning. This is a developing story. We'll have the latest for you on channel3000.com. A former school bus driver has been charged with sexual assault for allegedly touching girls inappropriately while on the job. Court records show 74-year-old Gary Dean Edwards of Partyville is facing 2 counts of sexual assault. 3 girls have accused Edwards of touching them inappropriately. Now, according to the criminal complaint, an 11-year-old girl first reported the incidents to deputies on May of 2017. Edwards told detectives he used to drive a bus for the Partyville School District, but he had retired in December. His next court hearing is June 25th. No one was hurt after a car went off the road and collided with a home in Greene County. Deputies with the Greene County Sheriff's Office were called to the 600 block of State Highway 59 in the town of Albany around 1 a.m. on Monday. Deputies say 48-year-old James Schmitz was headed east when he swerved to avoid hitting a deer. His vehicle went off the road, entered a ditch, and hit a home. Schmitz was wearing a seatbelt, and no one was injured, but he was cited. Republican lawmakers are urging the Assembly Health Committee to approve a bill that would require abortion providers to care for babies that are born as a result of an abortion attempt or face prison. The Health Committee is holding a hearing on the measure today. The bill's authors, Representative Jim Steinecke and Senator Roger Roth, told committee members that they should do everything they can to clarify that when a child takes a breath, the child can't be killed. Committee Democrats argued that existing state homicide statutes would come into play in born-alive scenarios and called the bill unnecessary. Christina Olstead was named the new Dean of Students at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Olstead currently serves as the Interim Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs, Housing, and Residence Life at Townsend University in Townsend, Maryland. Olstead will oversee the Dean of Students Office, the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards, the Center for First-Year Experience, and the Associated Students of Madison Staff and Programs. She'll start July 1st. An Amber Alert is in effect in Texas for a missing 4-year-old girl. Malaya Davis's stepfather says she was kidnapped Friday night after he pulled over on the side of the road with car problems. He told police he was on his way with Malaya and her younger brother to pick up Malaya's mom from the airport. He says 2 men driving a pickup truck attacked him on the side of the road. Police say the car that the stepfather was driving is missing. Malaya's family says she's had numerous brain surgeries, one just last month. The Trump administration is fighting back against Democrats' investigations into President Trump. So far, the administration has slowed Democratic efforts to obtain the complete unredacted Mueller report, as well as the president's personal tax returns. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
Republicans are stepping up their calls for Democrats to stop investigating President Trump.
What we've seen is a meltdown, an absolute meltdown, an inability to accept the bottom line conclusion on Russian interference from the special counsel's report.
Congressional Democrats are still fighting to see the complete unredacted Mueller report, as well as the president's personal tax returns. House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler is expected to meet today with Department of Justice officials after the DOJ missed a deadline to turn over the unredacted version of special counsel Robert Mueller's report. The committee is scheduled to vote tomorrow on whether to hold Attorney General William Barr in contempt of Congress.
The truth is what we want to base our decisions on, and the administration should be willing to share that unless they have something to hide, and that's what we will find out.
Democratic lawmakers say they also want to hear from Mueller himself on why he did not make a decision on obstruction of justice charges. The White House calls Mueller's testimony unnecessary.
Is Mr. Mueller going to go to Capitol Hill and say, oh, you know what, I forgot, milk, butter, eggs, indictment, crime? He's not going to say that. There is no criminal referral. There is no indictment.
The White House is also denying a congressional request to obtain President Trump's tax returns. In a letter, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin wrote the request lacks a legitimate legislative purpose. Democrats say they are consulting with lawyers, likely setting up a court battle over the president's returns. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And the House Judiciary Committee also issued a subpoena deadline today to former White House counsel Don McGahn for documents related to their investigations. And there's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
They started off as a budget-friendly way to feed a family, and then they became a staple on kids' menus. Now they're found at some of the fanciest restaurants. Stick around. You know, the grilled cheese sandwich sure has come a long way from when it was first introduced back in the early 20s. Its popularity soared during the Great Depression when it became the go-to, budget-friendly way to feed a family. These days, besides seeing it on every kid's menu, you can also find dressed-up versions of it in some of the country's fanciest restaurants. So let me share one with you that's both budget-friendly and very impressive. We begin by piling sourdough or Italian bread with a couple of slices of provolone cheese, some roasted red pepper, and a few slices of salami. Next, we sprinkle this with some garlic powder and oregano. Place the tops on and brush both sides with olive oil. Then, just like any other grilled cheese, we cook these on a griddle or in a skillet. You'll know they're done when they're golden on both sides and the cheese is all melty. It may sound simple, but when you taste your Italian favorites in this ooey gooey sandwich, you're gonna fall in love. To get your hands on the recipe for our Italian antipasto grilled cheese, all you have to do is check out our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a delicioso way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, thank you. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, a cloudy and cool Tuesday across the area, and we could see some showers later this week. Meteorologist Chris Reese is tracking some potential rain ahead in your first alert forecast. The pressure turns up on Wall Street and a deal for Teacher Appreciation Week. Diane King Hall has more in today's Money Watch report.
Stocks started the session lower, extending yesterday's losses as traders fretted over President Trump's threats to turn up the pressure on China. The Trump administration has vowed to boost tariffs by this Friday if a deal is not reached. Anadarko snubs Chevron. The energy company says it now favors Occidental Petroleum's $38 billion bid to buy it. The announcement comes a day after Chevron sweetened its bid with more cash. Chevron now has less than a week to come up with a better offer or leave the table. Facing backlash from critics who say cashless stores discriminate against the poor, Amazon will soon accept cash at all of its convenience stores. Its newest store opening in New York City Tuesday will be the first Amazon Go store to do so. The tech giant has more than 30 stores that do not currently accept cash, including its bookshops and Amazon Go convenience stores. And it is Teacher Appreciation Week. In honor of the occasion, Chipotle is offering a buy one, get one free deal. To participate, people have to present an ID proving they are an educator. The deal is valid for educators and staff of all levels from preschool to college and even includes homeschooling parents. The offer is good for its burritos, bowls, salads, and tacos today from 3 p.m. until close. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Diane, thank you. Let's check the carnage on Wall Street. The Dow Industrial is down 386 points. The NASDAQ down 122. S&P 500 down 39. All those trade worries with China. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee on this cool Tuesday.
I was going to say, we don't limit our worries to just the trade situation for the farm report, Mark. Now we've got to really turn our attention to the weather. We got numbers out yesterday afternoon that showed just how far behind our Wisconsin farmers are. Maybe more importantly, some of the other major corn and soybean growing regions. Here in Wisconsin, as of Sunday, we had just 7% of our corn in the ground. That is about 8 days behind our 5-year average. No soybeans that have been planted. We've got about 46% of our potatoes in the ground, 28% of the oats that are seeded. Our winter wheat is still looking pretty good, about 46% of that crop called good to excellent. But more and more farmers starting to report moderate to severe damage done to their alfalfa with winter kill, especially on those fields that were in low-lying areas where there was standing water that ultimately froze. Now, that's the little story. When you look at the bigger picture on how this wet weather is delaying planting, states like Illinois would normally have about 60 to 70% of their corn in the ground. They have 10% in the ground. Same situations in Iowa, Minnesota. They are almost 3 weeks behind in Minnesota when it comes to corn. And again, they've got no soybeans in the ground. So this is starting to add up and starting to be more of a newsmaker in the marketplace. If we can get 60 to 70% of our corn acres in the ground by the 3rd week of May, everything should still be fine. We shouldn't suffer real tremendous losses overall. But like I said, that's not what the weather forecast is looking like it's bringing to us. Today, barrel cheese up 4 at $1.74. 40-pound block cheese up 3/4 cents at $1.70 3/4. The AA butter today up 1 1/4 as well, $2.29.5. So our product prices hold nice and firm in the marketplace. But like I said, I was just talking to the kids that mow my lawn. They surprised me. I didn't even think that they were going to worry about that this week. But they said with the way the forecast is going, they got to try to do what they can when they can. So we got to remember, it's not just farmers that are impacted by this wet weather. Construction folks, those lawn care folks, a lot of people that are going to have to go idle if we start getting measurable rain again.
And we got to get the corn in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, yes. And I think our angleworms are happy and the ducks are happy, but our farmers are not.
Yeah. All right. Well, fingers crossed. Thank you, Pam. Chris is here now with the forecast. Things are not looking good in that regard.
That's right, Mark. We have more heavy rain on the way. In fact, it's going to keep temperatures cooler as well. I want to start out with some of the temperatures that are out there right now. Notice we're in the low 50s here in Madison, low to mid 40s as you work your way over towards the lakeshore. The reason that's significant is because tomorrow this is going to be warm, and these temperatures will likely be some 10 to 15 degrees colder than what they are as we speak. That's as the next system begins to head our way. Already, we have a lot of cloud cover out there, folks, and that cloud cover is going to continue. Winds coming out of the east at 8 miles per hour. Those winds are going to be picking up in time as well. We have an alert day for Wednesday. In fact, due to the windy and chilly conditions, we're looking at some rain that could be heavy at times, perhaps 1 to 2 inches of rain coming down on an already waterlogged ground. So here's a look outside of our studios right now. The skies again turning gray, and here's that cloud cover over over southern Wisconsin as we speak. Now, one of the things you'll actually notice is that as you work your way up towards central Wisconsin, there's a little bit more in the way of some sunshine. The reason for that, high pressure overhead is starting to keep that air just a little bit drier. But as we zoom things out, our next region of low pressure that's going to be impacting our weather is already on the way. So more cloud cover is starting to stream in from the south and west. That's what we're going to see overnight and into tomorrow. The same system is oddly enough bringing some severe weather to parts of the southern plains. We're talking Kansas through Oklahoma and parts of Texas. Into tomorrow, that severe weather threat moves a little bit farther towards the east, and that does come as close as Chicagoland. Here in Madison, we are just under the general thunderstorm risk, but we're going to watch that very closely. If it gets farther towards the north, we could actually see some isolated severe storms for us here as we move into your Wednesday. Let's time things out. Expect that rainfall to begin probably tomorrow morning during the rush hour. Things not looking so hot, especially if you have to stand outside. Maybe you're going to a bus stop or your children are going towards a bus stop. We're going to see scattered rain showers around pretty much all day. Then I want to point out what happens next. This is 8 o'clock. Notice temperatures are in the 40s. Now, typically during the evening, we start to watch those temperatures fall. But as this warm front lifts northward, not only does the heaviest rain move into town, but you'll notice temperatures warming overnight. This is 3 a.m. We've gone from 48 at 8 o'clock towards 56 at 3 o'clock in the morning. That moves on towards the north. As this rainfall comes in, folks, we are talking 1 to 2 inches of rain in some spots. And if these thunderstorms begin to hit the same places over and over, we will have to watch a localized flash flood threat. I don't think it's going to be the most widespread flooding, but with heavy rain and any thunderstorm chance, you do have to watch that risk around here, which is why Wednesday is an alert day. But here is the good news. There's always good news no matter how bad the forecast. But this good news is that I do think we're going to see an extended stretch of sunshine through the end of this week, the weekend, and early next week.
We need that.
We really need that. Yeah.
Let's hope that holds up. All right, Chris, thank you.
My pleasure.
Ahead on News 3 Now at noon, Angie Edge with the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin is here. She's sharing a recipe for a springtime dessert featuring, of course, Wisconsin cheese. Stay with us. Angie Hinch from the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin is here, and she's sharing a recipe for a springtime dessert featuring Wisconsin cheese. Cheese for dessert.
Yes, cheese for dessert, appetizers. May is the time for spring celebrations. So, you know, this weekend we have Mother's Day, lots of graduation parties. So we have a brand new online magazine. Our Great Pear Share has several appetizer and party recipes. So today we're going to show you how to make a very simple strawberry Gouda flour. So very simple to make. You're going to start with a package of puff pastry sheets. You're basically going to roll it out, and then we have a 3-inch flower-shaped cookie cutter that's going to make these beautiful little flowers. So very simple. You're going to actually do 18 of those, and half of those you're going to put a circle in the middle, and then you kind of layer them on top like this.
So just use another little...
Yep, another little cookie cutter. And then we have just a little bit of strawberry preserves that we're going to put in the middle. You kind of get a sweet and savory flavor and some different colors featured in there. Of course, our star recipe is our Wisconsin Gouda, and we make a lot of award-winning Gouda here. So you're actually going to put just a cube right in the middle and bake it in the oven for about 10 minutes, and it's going to just melt beautifully inside your flour. And then once it's still hot, you can actually just place a strawberry on top of that. So very simple. You can actually dust a little bit of powdered sugar on top of it and serve them warm and fresh for your next party.
Very springy.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
fresh.
And I know you said that Gouda is one of your favorite cheeses.
It's Dutch.
With your Dutch heritage. So it originated in Holland, but today we have a lot of master cheesemakers making award-winning Gouda cheeses. So this one's actually made close by in Monroe at the Maple Leaf Cheese Factory. You'll notice it's very creamy, mild in texture, buttery, almost has a little bit of tang and buttery flavor to it. So it melts so great in this recipe.
Are there different flavors of Gouda, or is it just Gouda?
You know what, you can definitely buy different flavor varieties. So there's a Dutch style, you can buy a smoked Gouda. Of course, we always encourage consumers to look for the Proudly Wisconsin seal, and this one also has the Wisconsin Master's Mark. So they have 2 master cheesemakers, so you always know you're buying the best cheese.
Steal a piece.
Yes, I'll leave some for you too, Mark.
Recipes online?
Recipes online at wisconsincheese.com.
And check out the new magazine.
Yeah, check out the new magazines, free of charge to download and peruse.
All right, Ange, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy spring.
Thank you.
Here's Chris with the final check of the forecast.
Yep, we have more rain on the way, at least for tomorrow into early on Thursday. This rain could be heavy at times, but the good news is what comes this weekend. We are talking perhaps an extended stretch of sunshine. Of course, we do need to dry out. Temperatures will be in the 60s.
All right, thank you, Chris. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you back here at 5, or at 4, that is. In the meantime, have a great afternoon. We'll be on at 5, too.